state of the world today, what do you feel and what do you think is the greatest force on Earth?
Greatest force on earth? Money. Why? That's what rules everything. That's what controls everything. Everybody's about money.
Definitely. Technology is the biggest, I would say, influence or power on this world or anywhere.
I think people are really blinded by worldly things like having power or money or social status or
living for things rather than, I don't know, money.
I don't know. I guess you can say that hate is taking over a lot of people, and it's really sad to see, but...
Well, I think love, when we're able to love one another.
In America, there are now more guns than there are people. Today, gated communities and security systems have become the norm. Even though many people might say that love is the most powerful force in the world, most of us don't live that way. As we introduced in the last episode, there is a tremendous need to overhaul our concept of revolution as the core source for change in our society. Here is Exhibit A of what we have unfortunately romanticized as a revolutionary. This is someone who is widely considered heroic? The most important question we can possibly be asking at this juncture is, why is it that the great majority of humankind never knows peace until right before we die? When you ask someone to think about all of the people in the world right now, and who would they name as a true example of peace, many would name the Dalai Lama. And yet, even the Dalai Lama is not at peace. Because just think about it. If he truly was at peace, he would never let other people bow down before him. So this leaves us with the question of why are there so incredibly few human beings who live peace? Not in a monastery, but who live in the world with the fullness of their humanity. While somehow, very strangely, it has become normal in the 21st century to live in a world with drones that carry beer, pizza, and bombs. Of course, there have been endless amounts of peace talks and peace accords. Yet why do externally imposed governmental sanctions of peace never really work? Because peace can never happen outside in. This is the ultimate contradiction. You cannot force peace. However you waste it, you can't get it back. Aha, but wait. I hear you saying peace is impossible, that it is just human nature to live by domination and destruction. But is it?
The streets that I have roamed, the people I have known, the different lives I've led and places that I have outgrown. But it's not always easy as it seems. 'Cause time is a drain.
Perhaps you might want to acquaint yourself with something called the Seville Statement. In Spain, in the spring of 1986, a group of the world's foremost scholars and scientists convened to find out officially if, after the bloodiest century in human history, is it simply human nature to be inherently violent, aggressive, and warlike? And guess what they found out? Let's talk to some experts on the matter of those famous 5 words of, well, we are only human. Meet Beverly and Florence. They are pit bulls, and they not only symbolize brave new peace, but they are an incredibly powerful symbol for humanity itself. Pit bulls have an enormous intelligence, joy, and capacity for love and greatness, so much so that they rank above 121 other breeds of dogs. Yet, when they are raised in an environment that only cultivates their aggression and encourages their violence, then guess what that yields? However, when they are raised in an extraordinarily beautiful environment, as these two have been, by one of the shiniest humans perhaps ever, guess what else happens? You have a symbol for humanity.
There's a war outside your window. If you didn't know.
Just because we have normalized one half of the spectrum does not mean that that is all we are. Life is a garden, and what we cultivate is what we get. So let's take a moment to look at the models humankind has had for refuge/self-improvement. We have essentially 3 main modalities: organized religion, therapy, and self-help. And what do all 3 have in common? Well, besides a very smart business model, shame. Let's take religion. Original sin. As soon as you are born, something is wrong with you. And then there's therapy and all of the attending neuroses. Not to mention a literal encyclopedia of diagnoses. And lastly, there's the self-help guru seminar model. Gotta fix your issues and get successful, right? Notice that all 3 of these conveniently feed on what? Yes, that's correct, incurring your dependency.
In my dreams, I see it. Looking for enlightenment. Hey, 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 in my dreams, I see it.
Think about this. For the last 2,000 years or so, the reigning paradigms in our world have been the Machiavellian forces of power and destruction. And what are the seeds of destruction? Myopic self-interest. And where are the seeds of self-interest to be found in our daily lives?
Out here so deep, but I feel it. Addicted to thinking we're always
in the pervasiveness of personal agendas.
I feel it.
end of constantly selling the people around us to get what we think we want from them and what we want them to do. Yick.
I said the people of the world look at you, see. Well, it's time to get free. To simplify.
Have you ever considered that perhaps the Pope and Kim Kardashian are essentially the same person? A public relations spokesperson selling image for a luxurious empire of self-interest. Truth alert. The Pope could have a yard sale tomorrow with all of his gold thrones, his fancy shoes, and all of the Vatican's assets, and feed the entire world for quite some time to come. It is really a preposterous charade, because there is no such thing as opulent piety. Much of the world's religions sell an image of caring about humankind, when what they really care about is building an empire of power and wealth, treating everyone in their path as a means to an end.
And it took me from a life of emptiness and doneness.
And yet religion is really only the symptom of a much larger picture in society. Everyone is now selling images. Hollywood and Washington, D.C. have essentially become the same place. In the 21st century, we are now living in the age of self-advertising. From the words of Philip K. Dick, I consider that the matter of defining what is real, that is a serious topic, even a vital topic. And in there somewhere is the other topic, the definition of the authentic human. Because the bombardment of pseudo-realities begins to produce inauthentic humans very quickly, spurious humans, as fake as the data pressing at them from all sides. Fake realities will create fake humans, or fake humans will generate fake realities and then sell them to other humans, turning them eventually into forgeries of themselves. So we wind up with fake humans inventing fake realities and then peddling them to other fake humans. It is just a very large version of Disneyland. Why does this matter so much? Because the most dangerous of all forms of sales pitching is in selling utopia. A searing example of this would be from the period of 1958 to 1961 in China. There was something called the Great Leap Forward, which yielded over 40 million deaths from horrendous widespread starvation and famine. And what is our recognition of this today in the 21st century? In Hollywood, on Melrose, is the restaurant Chairman Mao's, the very same leader who created the Great Leap Forward.
this which my belly
Just because you say something doesn't make it real.
angry moans. A sullen seed of truth swelling up beneath my bones. Treading soft sand under.
For the first time in history, this generation is growing up, seeing with unequivocal certitude clearly the global realities of our world now via technology. Hence, how disingenuous and heinous it truly is to turn a blind eye and just keep on selling and living what I call Kardashianitis, a lifestyle of living all about me. And this is precisely why the understanding of self-interest is so huge. Because when we are living in a bubble of only ourselves, we cannot see or hear the needs of those around us, not in society and not in our own lives, especially those who are counting on us the most. In a vast absence of meaning, our culture now values instant gratification. The I just want to feel good impetus becomes our reigning way of life. Our entertainment is now comprised as a mix of escapism and the mass consumption of darkness as fun. And when I say darkness, I mean the further away we get from ourselves and the more that we normalize this numbness of being disconnected, it turns into an everyday existence. And then the darker and bleaker and more chaotic all of life then becomes. The real question to be asking is, what are we doing to ourselves? Because although this quest for power has been accepted as the greatest force on earth so far, the real power that is the most unstoppable of all has yet to be fully ignited in humanity. To quote the Spike Jonze film, She, do you allow yourself to feel joy? As the writer Zadie Smith once famously said, she only has known joy 5 or 6 times in her life. What?
Don't need no trivialities. I'm doing my own thing. I do.
Joy is contagious, irresistible, impossible to fake, and it is incredibly intelligent because laughter strengthens immunity. And self-connected breathing activates your entire lymphatic system. What I would call joy fire, the passion of being wildly alive, plus the depth of meaning from living beyond yourself, is to live in a way where one experiences the concept of agendaless living. Joy is an untapped force in our world. Because, after all, if the disease is infectious, then so too must the cure be.
Even in the dark, even in the dark. Oh.
50 years ago this week in New York City, Kitty Genovese had her life brutally ended. And out of all of the witnesses that heard her screaming, no one tried to stop it. One of the witnesses famously said, "I didn't want to get involved." And so, your takeaway action from this episode is get involved in a way our world has never before seen.
Raise your bow, raise your arrow, raise.
And how, you might ask? It is to go beyond activism. If we are honest, activism has often bizarrely turned into another form of self-interest. My community. And it's often also very cranky and finger-pointy. And so, what is actually more powerful than being an activist? It is to harness your joy fire and be a lifetivist. A life lived with meaning, substance, impact, and fun. Because we are talking about centuries-old calcified models that tell us about how we are supposed to live versus what is actually real. For instance, instead of looking at what you do, yes, recycling is very important, but what is far more important is exploring and examining your reasons for underneath the choices that you make and why you do what you do. Why have I chosen this career path? Why am I in this relationship? What makes me want to live where I live? Importantly, also to ask, how do I treat people on the street? Are all of these things coming from being in my head? From thinking about what the picture of my life is supposed to look like, how I'm supposed to act, how other people act? Or is it coming from a deep place of self-connection, of who you truly are? Because when it is, that's being a lifetivist. You are connecting the micro to the macro. And in that moment, something very powerful happens. And it must be said that even the greatest of all forms of activism, which many would agree is environmentalism, has zero chance if we do not deal with the core root of human destruction. And that is truly what the heart of this project is all about. It took all of us to get here, and it is going to take all of us to get out. The time has come to evolve Gandhi's "Be the Change." Obviously, we have to go deeper. The way you help the world is how and why you live in it. If even a child soldier from Sierra Leone who saw more atrocities than most people could even ever comprehend. If Ishmael Bea, he, can find the beauty and joy of life as the strongest force in existence, then it is truly possible for all of us to discover that joy is indeed the greatest force on earth.
We fear no one.
There is a reason why the word hope in Spanish means wait. There is nothing to wait for anymore. We are truly living in very critical times. And this project, Brave New Peace, exists to ignite you to be boldly inspired, to see yourself and the world with new eyes, to catalyze you. Because the future can still be beautiful if we wake up today. And the long historical cycle of destruction can at last, in fact, be broken. It is time for a 21st century model of modern peace. When the extraordinary writer Toni Morrison was asked to describe herself in just 7 words, she said, 2 eyes, 1 tongue, searching for beauty. And if you look closely enough, you will find that this describes every single human being on this earth, deep down in the core within them. For there is not a person alive who is not looking to come home to themselves and to know peace. And not just for a brief moment, but for every wondrous day of their entire life. No one wants to suffer and live locked outside of themselves. And frankly, no one should have to. The time has truly arrived to ignite the greatest force on earth, and that is the flame of peace, evidenced always by the presence of deep joy and beauty, born from great, immense love. And that is not a sales pitch. That is just the truth.
Don't need no trivialities. I'm doing my own thing. I do just as I please. It is a blessed life. No worries and no strife. I'm doing fine.
Flowers and trees and the grass are Mother Nature, and it's so very, very important, and all of the world is important.